When you were a kid, didn't you always want to sit in the front seat of the car next to the driver? The traditional way of getting access to this seat, so you didn't have to sit in the dreaded back seat, was to call shotgun before anyone else could. Shotgun, we'd shout, or I've got shotgun. Then, once we were in the front passenger seat, it meant we were riding shotgun. So where did this expression come from? Well, it came from stagecoaches in the American Old West, although stagecoaches were not invented there. The stagecoach is a traditional theme of Western movies and television shows. They were always getting robbed by bandits, so-called highwaymen or road agents, because they carried wealthy or at least well-to-do passengers and often valuable items. While researching this video, I found out that this may be where we got the idiom stand and deliver, as this was a traditional phrase used by highwaymen to demand that the passengers hand over their valuables. But I haven't done any additional research on this, so take it with a grain of salt. A stagecoach was a kind of long-distance taxi. They were four-wheeled carriages or wagons that carried passengers and cargo. They traveled along established routes and made scheduled stops. These stops, or stages, were where the horses that pulled the stagecoach were changed for fresh horses. Stagecoaches and trains would often carry shotgun messengers, which were more officially called express messengers. These were basically armed guards. On the stagecoach, they sat to the left of the driver and usually carried a shotgun for protection. Despite what we might assume and what some Western movies might indicate, they weren't along to protect the passengers necessarily, but to protect any valuable cargo that might also be transported by the coach. These valuables would be kept in a strongbox. Ironically then, the fact that a stagecoach had a shotgun messenger made it more likely to be a target, as this indicated that it carried a valuable cargo. Of course, this was certainly no guarantee that a coach without a guard was safe, as it was certainly an easier target. Disappointingly, even though the Old West stagecoach is the origin of our modern idiom riding shotgun, this idiom may not have been actually used at the time. It first appears in print in 1905 in a fictional book about the Old West by Alfred Henry Lewis, The Sunset Trail, which featured, unsurprisingly, Wyatt and Morgan Earp. Wyatt and Morgan Earp were in the service of the Express Company. They went often as guards. Riding shotgun, it was called, when the stage bore unusual treasure. So although we can't be sure, it appears the phrase riding shotgun was a later fictional invention. Calling shotgun didn't arise until much later, when the automobile was very common in 1954, coinciding with the TV series Gunsmoke, which was an immensely popular and long-running Western show, often featuring stagecoaches and guards who were riding shotgun.